we are on our way to Forestburg, Alberta to go to visit some family. It's the Don Myers Memorial Car and Truck Rally, and Don was my uncle. He died back in January of this year, and we're having a little family gathering out there to celebrate his love of cars and things. It's going to be fun. We're going to check out a few other things along the way. Come join us. Well, we're slowly making our way to Forestburg, but if you know anything about us, we can't do anything simple. So we're on some random gravel road and we saw a building off in the distance that looked interesting and decided to take a little detour to come check it out. We couldn't tell from the road we were on whether or not it was a house or a school or a church. It is St. Hilda's Anglican Church. Services first and third Sunday. I don't know if that's still accurate or not. And of course, your country cemetery often accompanies your country church. And of course, the wind. There's always got to be the ever-present wind whenever we're out filming in these places.
1910.
Oh, wow.
Person died. Leslie Stevens?
I believe so. Yes, Leslie Stevens.
Wow.
Would have been 37 or so if my math is right. So there's another one. 1916. So we know, at least from the ones we've seen here, 1922, the cemetery dates from about 100 some years ago. Not sure if the church is original to that era or not. Emily was just pointing out this one here has an anchor on it, and he was killed in France in June of 1916, so most likely a World War I veteran. Always naturally drawn to these graves that are near trees, you know, and again, you just imagine their descendants planted these trees way back when, had no idea how big they would get over time. So in this section here, we're starting to see a lot more current burials, such as this one here from 2004. So obviously the cemetery still sees relatively active use, as evidenced as well by the number of markers that have fresh flowers or mementos left on them. So the church obviously has had this addition put on the back at some point, and you can see here the original chimney must have collapsed and fallen down, but somebody came along and stacked all the old portions of the chimney up alongside here. So very interesting to notice here as I've walked around the church, this door back here is the only entrance into the building. Like usually on the front of these churches, you can see the outline of a door or something if there was once there and it's been boarded over. I'm not really seeing that here through the bush. So like there's no evidence that there was a door here, even though this is the side that faces the road. So yeah, the door would have originally been on this side of it, and then when they put this addition on, they just made you come in through the side here. And looking at this door, it's latched, but there doesn't appear to be a lock. Let's see if it actually opens. It's kind of overgrown here. Oh, it does. I don't think anyone will mind if we take a little peek inside. Wow. This is It has a very musty odor in here, but the church is beautifully maintained. 90th anniversary in 1997. So that would put the church around 1909, I guess? No, 1907. So, which corresponds very much with the dates that we found in the cemetery for the first burials. So that means the church is probably very original to the site. Let's see if I can spin the camera around there. Yeah, just gas lights, no electricity in here.
Oh, it'd be neat to come to a Christmas Eve service. Wow. A lot of the same family names on this plaque that are buried.
Yeah. St. Hilda's Arthur Vale. What's the last entry in the guest book?
I think it's full here. Oh, no, there's a couple spaces. Well, these are 2018, all the way through January of 20. Okay, so April 13th of this year.
Okay, so it's obviously not that undiscovered, as we're not even the first ones to step in here this year. Another one of those close-up of the gas lights in here. So never had electricity, and at this point likely will never have electricity.
Puppy.
Aww.
Looks like a certain basset hound we know. Shout out to Matthew and Lisa in Rutherford.
2 for $1.44. Oh, there's a name inside.
The Galenas. They volunteered the chairs. Their name is on the chairs in there.
Oh, okay.
And there's some of that family name in the cemetery. Oh, this is so cute. This is beautiful. Love it.
Yeah, one last look around inside. What a great country church. And I've never really even heard of it before. So that's great, you know. We're not making the best time in terms of getting to the Memorial Car Rally, but sometimes you got to stop and check things out along the way. Back into the light. Reseal it up again and latch it up so that it keeps the animals and the weather out. And there we go. Emily's going to relatch the gate. We always try and leave these places in the same condition in which we found them. Again, we'll put out the standard warning. Make sure you treat these places with respect. They are historical treasures and need to be preserved and maintained. So that's it from St. Hilda's? Yeah, got that right. Okay, back on the road. Another random stop along the back roads. This one here is a unique attraction that you can't see.
Don't you see it? See it? It's the invisible house.
Yeah, so the rock at the base of the ladder, which you really can't see very well there, basically says the home of Ken Miller. And it's the invisible house. As far as we can tell, I mean, maybe there's a house there. It's behind a fence, so we can't actually go up and check. But all we can see is a ladder leaning against an invisible house. So yeah, there you go. The invisible house. An Alberta roadside attraction you can almost be guaranteed you've never seen. Okay, so at least one more stop here before we finally make our way out to Forestburg. Had to stop in the village of Donalda to check out this awesome old fire truck, which is one of my favorite places to stop. And in the background, the world's largest lamp. Yeah, I absolutely love this fire truck. Every time we're through the area, I have got to stop and check on it, make sure it's still doing okay. It's just a great old truck. Donalda is a really great little town when it comes to exploring some of these offbeat historical kind of places that we love. While the railway tracks are long gone, they still have this old railway station and a little segment of track here, just to give you an idea of what was once here. But what really puts Donalda on the map is the world's largest lamp. And of course, it's not just the lamp that makes us love this town. I mean, look at this main street down here. You can't really see too much of it from here, but there's this old Imperial Bank of Canada building just over right there. I mean, it's a classic main street. There's a lot of great historical buildings in this town, and it really is worth a stop if you're ever passing by on Highway 56. And you can even go right inside and look up. Look way up. And the lamp is kind of rusty. Friendly giant joke for you Canadians. The rest of you just ignore it or get out Google. So we're reading the plaque here, and it used to have one of these push to talk things, but it doesn't seem to work anymore. So it does mention that they raised $140,000 by June the 30th of 2000 to actually do the construction. It doesn't say when it actually opened or was built, though. At least not on that plaque. But there you go. The world's largest lamp. And yes, apparently if you come through here at night, it actually does light up. Another look at Main Street. The Donalda Meat Market is a great old building. That's it, kind of there. And if I could stabilize the camera right there, kind of in the middle of the frame. A few different artist galleries and things like that here in town. And I think we'll do a quick drive-by of the creamery before we head out. There we go, the Donalda Creamery. They've done a good job in protecting the building here. I know there are some efforts to attempt to restore it. Okay, now we're seriously going to get back on the road and hot-foot it to Forestburg before the entire event's over and we miss it. Okay, we made it to Forestburg. Now, for a normal person coming from Cochrane to Forestburg, it should be about a 3-hour drive, but we're a good 5 hours into our day already, and we just got here.
That's how we roll.
So I believe if the schedule we saw was correct, everybody from the family is probably still coming back from the cemetery. So there's probably not going to be here yet, but we're going to start checking out the mud bog and things first, and we'll catch up with everybody in a bit.
Oh, that was close.
We met up with the family, checked out some cars, saw some mud bog in there. First stop on the trip home is in Forestburg proper itself, and we're here. We got a couple things to check out.
Yep, we've never been to Forestburg, so we gotta see it all.
Of course, the first thing here is there's a couple of grain elevators, but this one in the front here is actually a fertilizer mixing plant. And it's very similar in design to the fertilizer plant I worked at in the town of Enchant back in 1993 or 1994, something like that. A lot of these are gone. I know the one I worked in was torn down sometime in the early 2000s, I believe. And the second thing we're checking out here is a couple of these rail cars. We just call them Alberta brake cars. This was a Government of Alberta project at some point where they purchased a bunch of these blue cars. Blue happening to be the color of the Progressive Conservative Party that was in power at the time. Purely coincidental, I'm sure. But they were taken Alberta brake, and then many of them had the name of a different Alberta town on the side. This one's from Delburn, which is actually not that far from here. One is Girouville. Sorry if I butchered the French there, but I've never been to Girouville. I don't even know where in the province it is, but we are a little bit of a geek when it comes to these Alberta brake cars. Because what we actually have is, at one point I found a online database of all the different Alberta brake cars. So I created an Excel spreadsheet, and as we see them, we cross them off our list and keep track of where, and well, more when than where, but we keep track of the ones we've actually seen out in the wild.
Some towns have more than one Alberta brake car, and they're all serialized. So we see the town name and the last 4 digits of the serial number just to make sure we get the right one. Yeah, we're dorks.
We are actually more fun to hang out with than it sounds. Look at the elevators, the fertilizer plant right in the front, and then the main elevator in the middle with annexes on both sides, and then the probably older, more original elevator down at the far end there. So check out the size of this drag line here. Like, wow, the bucket is bigger than Emily is. And they clearly saw me coming. No climbing on these exhibits, which is too bad because that is really tempting. I don't know if on the video you can really get any sort of comprehension of the scale of this thing. But there you can see. And now, from the mixed messages file, keep off, no climbing on these exhibits. Come around the corner, and it's like, use extreme caution on the stairs. So I'm a little confused. Is it okay to climb if I use extreme caution or not? I'm going to opt for not, just so that I don't get arrested. So yeah, apparently this particular drag line was built in 1927. That's incredible to think they had machines of this size back in the 20s. There's a little, I was going to call it a baby drag line, but a smaller drag line over here on the other end of the park. We're going to climb inside the bucket here. I don't think this counts as climbing on the exhibit. And Emily's going to get us our tacky tourist selfie while we're here. That means get your phone.
Oh, I thought you were going to take it.
No, I'm going to take the video of you
taking it. Okay.
Of taking the tacky tourist.
Selfie mode. All right.
Ha ha! I love it. So this is the smaller of the two drag lines here. Let's see what the sign on this one says. 1944. Worked at the Diplomat mine from 64 to 84. Okay, and now in the interest of accuracy, having actually had a chance to read the interpretive signs, the two pieces of machinery here that we've been looking at are not technically drag lines. They are stripping shovels and were replaced by drag lines. So all you coal mining experts can, not leave angry comments about how I don't know what I'm talking about, because I already know I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, that was a cool little stop. A big shout out to Cousin Paul for recommending it. And anything to add?
It's really cool. Big equipment's always fun to look at, so come check it out.
And you know what's even more fun when there's big equipment around? It's checking it out from the air. We got to put the drone up and check out that big stripping shovel.
Yes.
This introduction inside the truck only because it's really windy here and I know the audio is going to suck from here on out. We are at Notre-Dame de Savoie Church and Cemetery. Now, this church is probably one of the most photographed abandoned churches in the entire province of Alberta, and you're going to see why in just a second. Now, I've never been here before, and this has probably been in my top 10 abandoned places in the province to check out, so I'm really excited to finally be here in person after seeing this in countless photographs online. Now, we've just watched a couple of different videos about Robert Johnson selling his soul at the crossroads. I could see this being the Alberta equivalent of where you would do that. Because we are kind of out in the middle of nowhere here at a crossroads with a cemetery, but check out this church. That is unbelievable. Unfortunately, as you can tell from the condition, probably not long for this world. Its back looks pretty broken and it's caved in pretty good, but just to be able to come out here and see it is fantastic. Oh yeah.
Watch for nails.
Yeah, watch for nails, watch for ticks, watch for snakes, watch for gopher holes, watch for all sorts of things. I'm just going to stick the camera in the doorway here. I'm not going to actually attempt to even go inside given the condition of it. But, whoa, just a bird, nothing to see here. But there you go, there's the inside of it. You can see there's remains of some pews still, but the rest of it's pretty gone, not much left. See if I can I can see somebody's been here not that long ago. The grass is all matted down leading up to the window here, so I'm not the first person in recent times here to stick my head in this window. You can see the floor is completely rotted and is disappearing, so there's basically no floor left inside. Ceiling and the roof is mostly gone. But wow, what an amazing structure, and fantastic that it's still here in any form for us to check out right now. Again, I just cannot emphasize how cool it is to finally be here in person to see this after seeing it online so much. It's It's been pinned on my Google map of places I want to go seemingly forever. All right, well, what did you think after seeing it for the first time yourself?
Gorgeous, very peaceful, serene. I mean, it is a bit sad just because it probably won't make it another year. It's really bulging and the roof is starting to cave in. So I'm glad we got to see it while it's still here.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. We say, you know, it probably won't last another year, but people have been saying that for a long time. But one of these times with the wind and the snowfall out here, it's going to be gone. So it was great to get a chance to see it in person. Well, we decided to stop for some gas. We were getting low on fuel, so we're going to grab some gas, grab some food, some drinks for the road, and hot foot at home. This is probably going to be our last stop. It has been an absolutely fantastic day. We saw all sorts of stuff that I wasn't planning on or wasn't expecting. Got to see some family again, which is always good. It was a great trip. I want to thank the wave of subscribers that we've had lately. We blew right past my year-end goal of 100. I think we're at about 114 right now. That is fantastic. It's been great to see the channel start to really grow and take off. We had such an awesome time today. I'm glad you came along for the ride. Thanks very much. Now it's stopped. I get to watch all that. Oh, now it's going again. Okay.
All right.
We're just going to cut everything right there, so you're not going to see any of that. Or maybe you will at the end. Stick around. Ha, ha, ha. Teaser.